Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Today we're taking a look at, in my mind, one of the more intriguing teams as we head into 2022 as the UNC Tar Heels are playing Florida A&M Week 0. It is officially game week. I cannot wait for college football to start. We are inside of 7 days. Guys, before we get into it, just wanted to say thank you for all the support you guys have shown the channel. If you guys do like the content, you like chopping it up about football, consider subscribing to the channel. We really do appreciate it. Love making these videos. Love talking ball. The community has been awesome. Love talking football with you guys in the comment section. So if you guys do like the content, consider subscribing. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Let's start talking about UNC as they face off against Florida A&M Week 0. Breaking news. Drake Maye is going to be quarterback 1 for the Tar Heels, and I'm very, very excited for the fact that Mack Brown has chosen a quarterback 1. I was really nervous that they kind of go in with a 2-quarterback system with a guy like Drake Maye and Jacoby Griswold. That never works. I think we saw it with Florida last year. It's really hard for you to go back and look at a time a team on offense has gone with 2 quarterbacks and just pulling them in and out each drive, and has it ever been successful? So they're going into week 1 with a quarterback 1. Drake Maye is going to be able to get his feet under him against an opponent that they should beat pretty handily. Now, we're breaking down this game. We're not looking at, is UNC going to win this game or cover the spread? We're not giving out picks. We're talking more about what do we want to see from the North Carolina Tar Heels as they play week 0, because in week 2, they go on the road to App State in Boone, North Carolina. Many of you Tar Heel fans know about Boone. It is very hard to win football games there. App State is a very good football team, and even the spread shows it. UNC is only favored by 2 points, and that's probably pretty accurate. App State is a very formidable opponent, and UNC is going to get a chance to get some confidence, get their legs under them as they go into App State. With the game like Florida A&M, you look at last year, they go on the road to Virginia Tech. UNC probably beats Virginia Tech 9 times out of 10, but last year in Blacksburg, that is an even harder place to win. The place was absolutely bumping, in UNC, quite frankly, they came out flat. I remember losing some money on that game. I thought North Carolina was going to be a very good football team that year. Last year, I should say. They just didn't really look the same. Now, UNC isn't quite as bad of a team as I think a lot of the national media thinks they are, right? You see them around 50th nationally ranked. I think they're a better team, and even if you look at their last 5 games last year, they beat a top 10 team in Wake Forest who played for an ACC championship game. They went and played Pitt and lost in overtime. They beat Wofford. They lose a brutal one to NC State where they probably should have won that game. And then the bowl game against South Carolina, I just don't think they were ready to rock and roll. They were very competitive throughout the year. They're a very good team. And I'll tell you why I'm kind of high on UNC and tell you, I want to pull up their depth chart and just talk about some players that I'm excited for and really to see how they look in 2022, mostly on the defense, but let's start with the offense. So you have Drake Maye coming in. This depth chart obviously outdated as Drake Maye was named the starter, I believe today. What's the chemistry look like with Josh Downs? Josh Downs is one of the most electric receivers in the country, not just the ACC. Can Drake Maye establish that connection that Sam Howell had with Josh Downs last year? And Josh Downs is a guy that you just got to get him the football in space, and he's going to cook. He's one of the best receivers with the ball in his hands. Get creative. Get ways that you can get Josh Downs in space. Let him cook. Phil Longo, very, very good at that. Question mark. Who's the number 2 guy behind Josh Downs? Antoine Green obviously going down with an injury in fall camp. Won't be back till at least the Notre Dame game. Which of these wide receivers are going to step up and kind of be that wide receiver 2 and 3? Because Josh Downs really carried the load last year, and if it wasn't him, it was Antoine Green. You don't know who's going to play now. You got to see some of the guys step up, and Florida A&M is a perfect opponent for some of those guys to build some confidence, build some chemistry with Drake Maye. Second question, offensive line. It was absolutely brutal last year. Sam Howell, one of the toughest quarterbacks in the whole entire country, was pretty much running for his life the whole year last year. The offensive line, especially with a guy like Drake Maye, quarterback who is not as athletic as Sam Howell. He's a big guy who can take hits. but you don't want Drake Maye playing like Sam Howell was forced to play last year. What's this offensive line look like? You have some transfers coming in, a guy to keep your eye on, and he'll probably play week one, whether he starts or comes in as a reserve, is true freshman Zach Rice, who was one of the best commits UNC has ever landed. He's a guy that, quite frankly, is ready to play, and I'm very interested to see if he starts at that left tackle spot because he's a very, very talented tackle. Is he going to be ready to rock and roll? I'm not sure, but we're going to see him play. And if he can play and start at left tackle and be a plus starter at the ACC level, that's going to make UNC's offensive line much more smooth. If you have an anchor at left tackle who can be trustworthy and can play at a high level, it's really easy to shuffle the rest of the offensive line. So that's the big storyline on the offensive line. And then obviously, how does Drake Maye look? Does he look in command? You have a plethora of running backs, probably led by British Brooks, who are going to carry the load. I mean, British Brooks, again, a guy that averaged 9.5 yards per carry last year. Very excited to see him be kind of the bell cow and get more touches. Now, what I'm really excited about is this defense. UNC could have been a really special team last year if a couple of things worked out. One, was the offensive line going to be, if the offensive line was better, that offense would have been better. Sam Howell was good, but again, did not have very many clean pockets to throw from. The second part, this UNC defense, if some of these really, really big time recruits arrived a year early as true sophomores, this defense could have been really special. That didn't quite happen. You had some injuries up front, especially to a guy like Raymond Vahasek. I think I said his name right, probably didn't. But outside of that, which of these guys who are young are going to step up and kind of be dogs up front? Look for a guy like Myles Murphy, who's a guy that loved in the high school ranks. He put it together a little bit this year, but Myles Murphy's a guy that I think can dominate at the ACC level. He's coming into his third year. That's normally where you see those jumps from a freshman to a sophomore. You kind of get that full year in the strength and conditioning room. And then as a sophomore to a junior, I expect a guy like Myles Murphy, Desmond Evans, to kind of become an absolute stud, a first-team All-ACC kind of guy. And then Noah Taylor coming over from Virginia. Keep an eye on him. And Cedric Gray, he's a stud linebacker, makes a lot of tackles. But I'm more concerned with that cornerback and defensive back room. Again, this is a defense that is extremely talented. And if you guys know what the blue chip ratio is, it's basically something that 24/7 Sports put together that can predict, do you have the minimum amount of talent to win a national championship? UNC is almost 1 basis point off that. And that just shows you how well they've recruited the last couple of years and the talent they've acquired, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And a lot of that comes in the secondary. Tony Grimes is a guy that you saw as a early enrollee true freshman. I mean, he pretty much passed up on his senior year, decided to play ball as a 17-year-old kid as a true freshman, and looked absolutely awesome. Last year, a relatively disappointing year for him. I wanted to see him kind of be that lockdown cornerback one that I think he can be in how he flashed year one for him. Another guy, Storm Duck, the other cornerback, very, very talented. You have Cameron Kelly, very good football player. The story of UNC is, can they get the most out of this defense, the talent out of this defense? And they bring in Gene Chizik, who is no schmuck, I guess you should say, as a defensive coordinator. Very excited to see what he does with that defense. He's known for kind of being aggressive, and I'm not totally against that. You have guys on the outside in Storm Duck and Tony Grimes who you can let them play on an island. They are physical and good enough athletes to handle themselves in one-on-one coverage. Get aggressive with your front seven, maybe not as much safety help. Put some heat on quarterbacks, load the boxes, get a better run defense. I'm excited to see what this defense looks like under Gene Chizik because, again, the talent on this team is very good. The UNC fans know that. They've recruited at a high level. Can this defense play up to that talent? That's why they brought Gene Chizik in. And overall, Florida A&M, UNC is going to beat Florida A&M, and they're going to beat them comfortably. But what you want to look for is Josh Downs. He's going to be a stud. We know that. Who's going to be wide receiver 2 while Green is recovering from injury? Can Zach Rice play up front for the offensive line? How does Drake Maye look? Does he look in command of the offense? And again, I love the idea of scheduling a Florida A&M because you're not going on the road to a Virginia Tech team where you can get got. like they did last year. You have a game where even if you don't play good football, you're going to win. You're going to be 1-0 going up against App State, which is a very winnable team. And then on defense, let's see these guys develop into the talented prospects that they are. They played all right last year. Take it to the next level, become one of the best defenses in the ACC, which they can. That talent is there. They just got to put it together. Gene Chizik coming in as the defensive coordinator. I love that hire, and I'm excited to see what UNC brings. Guys, wanted to keep it short again. Appreciate you guys checking us out as usual. If you do like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys rocking with us, and we'll talk to y'all later.